Hi, I'm Sandy with Lightning Tools, and I'm here again with Brett. Hi, how are you?
Very good, thank you, Sandy. Yeah, not bad at all. How's things
Great,
for you?
very good. Yep,
So you're in Texas right now,
I am in
not
Texas. Yep,
not
I'm
Florida.
in Houston, Texas.
Nice, very very good. So we've had a busy month.
hmm
We've spoken the
Seems
last.
like we always say that, but it's true.
We do. It's always true. Yeah, we spoke in the last episode actually about DeliverPoint and what was
hmm
coming up with that one. So yeah, that's now in the process of being released. So you should be able to get that either now or very shortly by the time you're
hmm
listening to this episode. And we delivered the webinar both
hmm
yesterday and on Wednesday night to
hmm
our sort of APAC region,
hmm
I guess,
Yeah,
customers
we're
and
we're getting more and more uptake on that other time zone of the webinar, I think.
yeah, absolutely. So yeah, if you are in the APAC region, you happen to be listening to this, then we also do our webinars twice now. So hopefully hitting two parts of the world at least. So there we go. Um, so yeah, there's well, I guess the three main features of DeliverPoint, and in the last episode we talked about what DeliverPoint was and what those features are. But I think we could just have a quick
Sure.
recap on what the features are. Sandy, do you want to discuss those?
Yep, sure. Let me try. Let me remember. Yeah, so one of them is that we have added some additional scheduled reports. So pretty much all of the reports you can get from DeliverPoint, you can now do as scheduled reports, meaning that you can choose to run them and that basically you run them and then say, yeah, you want to do that on a regular basis of some sort,
Hmm.
and then that report gets saved to a SharePoint library, and you can access it when it's ready. So that lets it do its work behind the scenes and just give you the report when it's ready to do so. So that's one. And I know that there's one just on the tip of my tongue, and why am I not thinking of it?
The snapshots.
Yes, I know. Yes, that's the really big one, and one that I think people are really going to like. That's where you can take a snapshot of the permissions as they stand within some scope right now and save that. And then at a later date, you can come back and take another snapshot and either compare to what the permissions had been at that previous time, which is something people have asked for a lot. Like, what's the delta between the permissions now and what they were, a quarter ago? Or you can use that same feature to revert the permissions back to how they were. So, if you've set up a nice library full of folders that are permissioned in just the way you want them, and then over time, people, are sharing links and doing things mucking about with your folder permissions, then you could set them back to the way you really want
Yeah.
them
And
using the
it's so
snapshot.
easy. I've recently heard a horror story actually, and it's quite amazing how easy this could come about. And that was that the way that you do share in SharePoint has now changed a little bit. It's just been
Mhm,
fine tuned a little bit by Microsoft. But um, before, when you were creating a sharing link, maybe on a folder or a list or a library, uh, you would have four radio buttons at the very top, and you could choose like, is this going to be an anyone link, or is it going to be specific people, or
mhm,
people inside of my organization, or whatever it might be. Uh, and you could be quite careful about not creating an anyone link and choosing the radio button to say specific people, and then you would have to put a specific person in.
mhm,
Now it's changed. So when you go in there and you hit create a sharing link, if you don't see those radio buttons, it kind of like becomes a specific people one if you put specific people in.
mhm,
But if you just happen to hit copy link, which is a
mhm,
button that's active at that point, it will be an anyone link.
mhm,
So that actually occurred
mhm,
with a client, and they created an anyone link that was available to something that was potentially very confidential.
mhm.
It was a whole
Oh
library
gosh.
of information, and people just started coming up against it because
Mm,
yeah, that they could. It wasn't the fact
mm,
that they went specifically looking for it. It's just
mm,
something that was actually shared with them.
mhm,
So yeah, it's really a concern that that is the case. So yeah, being
mm,
able to revert back to the permissions at a given time is really key.
Cool.
Excellent. So yeah, we wrapped up the webinar recording as well today. So you can go and watch that. Go to lightningtools.com, click onto webinars, and you'll be able to see the most recent webinar there, and watch that back and provide any feedback if you have any. It'd be great to know what everybody thinks to some of those new releases and to the product in general.
Yep. Or ask additional questions. We're always happy to answer questions.
Exactly right. Yeah. So we're currently just midway in November, but coming up in December, we have the Lightning Form suite that we offer has some updates. So within the Lightning Form suite, we've got Lightning Forms, which is a SharePoint list form design tool. So if you're not familiar with it, what you can do is go into a SharePoint list, and where you get the sort of new form, the edit form, and the display form, and it's just that sort of single column side panel. With Lightning Forms, you can begin to customize that contextually within inside of the SharePoint list. So you can add multiple columns, you can add lots of logic. You don't need any development skills to add that logic. You can just very, very easily build out expressions using the expression builder, or add actions using the action builder. And you can also style your forms as well. You can create sublists, etc. So it's a really intuitive way of doing it, and because you're doing it inside of SharePoint, there's no surprises when you hit publish or save. It's as you saw it when you were designing it. So
and it looks just like it's built into SharePoint. It's completely seamless as from the person's perspective who's looking at the form.
Exactly. It's so easy to create a design, and then a lot easier to use from the end user perspective as well. And then accompanying that within the suite, there's also the Lightning, or what was Lightning list actions, is now becoming Lightning Tools actions, because it's not just for lists anymore. So in the past, what you were able to do is add some automation to your SharePoint list by creating a button on the command bar. So it might be that you want to maybe approve items or something like that. So if you think that maybe you've used Lightning Forms to build out an expense reporting form, and maybe you've got 50 different expense reports to approve, you could see from the information shown in the view that they could be approved. They're maybe amounts under budget, and so on and so forth. So instead of going into each one and then approving it, you could use Lightning list actions to create a series of actions that would be an approval. So it could send an email as an action, it could update the field to approved as an action, as well as the approved by and the approval date, and so on. So you can actually bulk update multiple items all in one go, as opposed to just going in and out of every single form. Well, I believe
and that's a key difference between that and Power Automate too.
I learned that last week actually when you mentioned that. So with Power Automate, you can only trigger a Power Automate flow against a single item that you select, but this you could select all 50, hit your button, and it would update all 50. That's fantastic way of bulk managing content. So what's different in the release that we're about to push out, and the reason for the name change, is you can actually create these buttons just on a page now, either as like tile style buttons or just individual modern buttons, and they can fire a list of different, or a series of different actions. So go.
Well, I was going to say it's sort of like the idea of the SharePoint built-in quick links web part. I mean, it looks kind of similar, but you could open up new forms. You could have a little menu of forms for people to open right from the SharePoint homepage, for example, and it would go and open the customized forms, or perform various other actions in the meantime, either before or after opening the form, and or just plain do actions, and be able to have those be dynamic too. I think that's pretty key. So the buttons can either display or not dynamically, as well as so it's very similar to how the list actions had been, where even in the command bar, like you could have that approve button that you mentioned, but it could appear only for people who are in a certain, like, approvers group or something, which is
Hmm.
another thing that you can't do with Power Automate, actually.
Yeah, fantastic.
Same with the Lightning Tools actions. Those buttons are going to be dynamic as well.
Yeah, great. So that's a fantastic new
Hmm.
um, well, feature for Lightning List Actions, which is now Lightning Tools Actions. And with Lightning Forms itself, there's also some new additions. So one
Hmm.
of them is the ALM.
Hmm.
So the application cycle management, meaning we did actually have this in the classic version of Lightning Forms, but now we've got it available in the modern version. And that is that when somebody saves a change, it just increments the
Meaning in
versioning
the design of the
in the
form changes.
design. Yes, yeah, exactly. So similar to the snapshots of permissions,
Hmm.
in fact, if you want to revert back to a previous version because maybe you made some design changes, you're not sure what you did that's maybe broken
Hmm.
your form or whatever, you can always just go back that minor version. Or maybe
Hmm.
the feedback that you got on some improvements wasn't
Hmm.
good.
Hmm.
You could jump back to a previous version for that reason as
Hmm.
well. Um, so that's a great new feature. And then there's also content types as well.
Right. Yeah. And that's another one that had been supported in classic forms previously and now in modern forms. So if you have a list where you've got several different content types supported, then when people create a new item of a given content type, it could have a different form that it's going to display based on that content type. So that's been a request, a common request from our customers. So we're really glad to be able to produce that.
Yeah, fantastic. Good, good. So I think they're the main
Mhm,
features
mhm,
that we'll be pushing out. So we'll talk more about those in a bit more detail next month. We'll discuss the webinar and so on and how that went. Incidentally, you can register for the webinar now if you want to. So you will find that. Let me see when that's going to be. Yeah, so that is on the 13th and the 14th of December. So if you are
mhm,
in the APAC region, um, that'll be depending on where you are, of course. Hopefully that'll be in your morning on the Thursday, or you could also join on Thursday afternoon if you're North America
mhm.
or Europe. So I
And
guess
in the
the EMEA
meantime,
region.
yeah, yeah. And in the meantime, between now and then, Lightning Tools will be at a couple of conferences.
Hmm. Yeah, so come and hang out with us if you're in London. We're going to be at the business show in London next week, and then we're also going to be in Amsterdam the week after that at the European SharePoint conference. So it'd be great for
Mm,
you to come and meet us there. And,
yeah, yeah. Hang out in our English pub.
exactly, yeah, yeah. We've got we're taking our Lightning Tools branded van with a pool table in the back, a bar. We're going to have yeah, some maybe beer on hand and so on. So yeah, come and hang out in our pub. It's called the Tool Shed. So
Very nice.
there we go. Be great to see you there.
Yeah, I wish I was going, but I'm not. But it would be good to see all of you, audience.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, Sandy. It's great
Okay.
chatting
Yep.
as
Same.
always, and look forward to meeting the next time.
All right. All right. Talk to you later.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye bye.